going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, I thought I would just give you my updated list which I took to my most recent locals. I was playing Evil Twins and I did recently just do a deck profile on the deck, but I made a few tweaks and a couple of small changes, mainly based on the megatins and a few things that I was seeing when I was doing some play testing. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the profile. Now, starting us off, this part has changed somewhat. So obviously we're playing triple blue, which is live twin Leela. We're playing triple red, which is live twin Kissikil. Now this doesn't change. You kind of need to see your engine. This is the main focus of the deck, being able to resolve these two cards. So you do kind of need to see them. I was actually playing these two at 2, but I'm not anymore. In my opinion, Frost is way better than Treat. Treat is good, but Frost is way better. Just being able to get an additional draw when your opponent searches is something that you can't really scoff at, basically. I have dropped it down, but I'm probably looking to bump this back up to 2, mainly because of just the utility of being able to just draw a card, basically. And if you didn't know, this deck plays a lot of hand traps and interruptions, so being able to constantly draw and just get into your interruptions is something that is valuable, to say the least. I was also running double parallel exceed. Now the reason why I've gone into parallel exceed is just to get some more bodies on board, just in case I need to break a board and get rid of a problem monster. For example, Dragoon, Crystal Wing, anything that's very problematic, mainly because I can actually go into my Underworld Goddess. You need 4 monsters, and being able to get your exceed out to be able to go into it is just super vital. Also, I also using this for a Baguska play, mainly because a lot of your evil twin monsters are effectively link monsters which can't go into defense position, so you can continue to play the game, but your opponent's gonna have a very hard time, and especially when their normal summons being popped because they can't activate any effects. It came up every now and again. I am considering putting it to 3, but I'd rather see some of my other stuff, hence why I'm only playing it at 2. But it did very well, and it worked out extremely well in the tournament. Next up, we are onto the hand traps, and this is probably the most spicy hand trap of all. Triple Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. Now I decided to put this in mainly because I thought to myself, and it is a thing, this deck has a problem with damage. The damage does occur over a turn, but it doesn't do high burst damage, so to speak. So in one turn, typically you can poke for like 3k or 2200 or something like that, depending on how your hand is. Normally you're playing for a few interruptions on your opponent, so you don't necessarily get that much damage on board in each turn, basically. So I thought to myself, put the Moonlit Chill in just to help pay for some of that damage cost, and it actually worked out, to be honest, as well as being a pseudo effect veiler. Also, this part hasn't changed. You're playing triple Skullmeister. This is just especially mid-game. It's one of the most impactful cards, so to speak, especially with graveyard recursion and effects in the graveyard being so prominent. Skullmeister definitely does help. And then finally we got the triple Veiler. Veiler's good. I like Veiler. To be honest, it's a little bit difficult to utilize at times, mainly because you're just playing into talents, but Tri-Brigade dies to this easily, and in a simplified game state, Veiler is just super effectful. Yeah, so triple Veiler. It's not once per turn as well, so it helps. Next, onto the spells. I'm still running the triple live twin Home, as well as the triple live twin Sunny Snitch, as well as the triple secret password. Now I know some people have dropped these ratios. They always max out on Snitch, but they may have dropped Home and upped password. I like seeing all 3 in my deck, mainly because there's a few times when I've been playing and my normal summon's been stopped for whatever reason, and just having these in hand, not having to search them, just means that I can continue playing the game, basically. So definitely a utility. Live Twin Snitch is low-key one of the best spells in this deck. Not necessarily because of the ad, but just the burn. I'll be honest, like from playtesting this deck and playing it at locals and seeing how much damage, especially when you're playing a combo deck, how much the 200 damage can accumulate, it does really make a difference, and it kind of separates you from your opponent in terms of life points, as well as this deck not being able to do so much damage just yet. When we do get the link 4, then that will definitely change, but at the moment, Live Twin Sunny Snitch is definitely an underrated card, so I've decided to max out on those cards. Next, for the non-engine spells, triple tactical talents. Yes, ladies and gents, I managed to pull 2 and I got myself a 3rd one. This overperformed. In this deck, because you've got so many extenders, the main effect that you're going to pull off with your triple tactical talents is just to be able to hand rip and just get hand knowledge, and it just makes playing the game so much easier, especially when you've got Nibiru in your opponent's hand. Seeing the triple tactics talents and seeing him trying to, like, I don't know, veil you or ash you or whatever, and then just looking at the hand and then shuffling the Nibiru away and being able to continue playing is just a wonderful feeling. Not to mention, in a pinch, that you can actually draw 2 cards. Now, I did think this card was not as impactful as I thought it was more impactful until I've actually received this card. At times, it can be a bit of a brick in your hand, specifically if your opponent doesn't activate anything or you're playing a trap-based deck. You've just got a card in your hand that you can't activate and it kind of just sits there, to be honest. But nevertheless, when it does go off, it's super impactful. So it's one of those things that you kind of risk. And with hand traps being in the format, as well as monster negation being at an all-time high, I do think the triple tactical talents is the way forward. So definitely an inclusion right there. Next, I did still main the triple Cosmic Cyclone. Again, this overperformed. Seeing this in your deck, this is probably something I will not take out, especially with Revolt, especially with just random strikes, solemn strikes, for example, solemn judgments. This just says no to all of that just before anything starts to happen. So definitely worth putting into your deck. I did, I'll show you my side actually once I've done the main profile. For the power 1-offs, we played 1 Core by the Grave, obviously. This just literally saved my life against, I think I was playing Marincess, and a Core by the Grave Vela, continued playing. And 1 Pot of Avarice. Now, this is a sneaky little tech. Because you need 1 card starters, and you special summon a lot from deck, and then you just proceed to play with your extra deck, shuffling back your engine as well as some of your Kisikil and Leela's link monsters is just super invaluable, not to mention drawing into hand traps as well. So definitely a viable card in this deck. I don't see many people running it in their builds, but I've definitely ran it, and in play testing this has come up a lot. Whenever I've drawn it, it's always been live, even turn 1, to be honest, because you just go through so much of your engine at once. So definitely a valuable card. And then for the traps, the card that super overperformed, Solemn Strike. Nothing needs to be said about this card. It's so flexible. Negate the special summon, negate the monster effect, end that chain. It's just as simple as that. So definitely will not take this card out. Then on to the extra deck. Extra deck has not changed, ladies and gents. So we're still playing the triple blue as well as the triple red. Nothing needs to be said. We get a pop, we get a draw. Nice and simple. You're normally going to end on a red to be able to summon the blue back. And then when they attack over something, then you just get the other one back. But definitely would not play any less. What is up for contention is this, however. Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn. To be honest, I missed Nightmare Cerberus. That was definitely something that I could have put into the extra deck to make a little bit more of an impact. Baguska was good, but having the flexibility of going into Cerberus was probably a little bit more impactful. Mainly because what I found was I was hand trapping my opponent to death, and I just couldn't play the game. So when I did have a monster on board, I needed it to be clear just to be able to do maximum damage. And having Cerberus, because not many people are using the extra monster zone that much, as it's just basically reserved for like Appaloosa or Shurag or something like that. So having a Cerberus to pop a monster in the main monster zone is something that I probably missed, and I probably will put in, to be honest. So yeah, this card overperformed. Simple as that. Underworld Goddess was crazy. Unchained Abomination and Borrow Sword. I summoned this once, but it's an option nonetheless. This outs Dragoon, outs everything. Can't be destroyed by effects that don't target it. It's just it can negate anything that special summons. It's just crazy. And just being able to link off one of your opponent's monsters. I literally summoned this card every game, especially with Parallel Exceed. It was just crazy. Unchained Abomination in a simplified game state, he wins the game. Simple as that. He wins the game. It's too much. It has too much of an impact on the field and to not win you the game. So yeah. And then finally, we've got one Beguska. Like I said, I've already mentioned Beguska. Decent card, especially with your links. Once you've got your main deck monsters unfilled, their effects are basically null and void because you're never going to use the other effects to burn and whatnot. You just want to link them off and get into your link monsters. And then Beguska just says no to any kind of monster effect that's going to occur on your opponent's field, unless it's a link monster, obviously. So yeah. And then finally, a little bit of a package which I'm actually considering altering. It is useful, but I kind of... Alright, so we've got Sky Cavalry, we've got Down and Magician, and we've got Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus to Sky Thunder. We all know what this does. But what I found myself doing, because I could go into Zeus, I was going into Zeus, and I didn't need to. Just because Zeus is that powerful, it does clear boards, when in fact I should have just left my Evil Twin links on field and just let my opponent burn to Sunny Snitch and just continue to pop and draw. And a couple of times this actually lost me the game going into Zeus. Now that's obviously down to my decision making, but that's the kind of toss-up that you have at times where you've got a simplified board state. You think, all right, Zeus is probably the best in this situation, and sometimes it isn't, but nevertheless it's still a flexible card. It did wipe out a few games, especially against like Marincess. I think against when I played Heroes, it was a very powerful card, and Down that just facilitates the Zeus double board wipe. Then very quickly onto the side deck, we've got the other Leader Treat and Frost, say no more. We've also got triple Ghost Bow. This was basically for Tri Brigade, just to try and negate their revolt. It didn't actually come up too much because I didn't actually play against any Tri Brigade at the locals, but nevertheless Bal is there. It's not super impactful. I feel like Skullmeister's a little bit better, to be honest, but nevertheless it can stop revolt, which can literally shut down their play. So yeah. We also main deck, side deck, the Twin Twisters. I was fearing back row, and Cosmic Cyclone alone is not enough to get rid of some back row, so I typically sided in like 2 Twin Twisters, mainly because I didn't want to flood my deck with back row hate and not being able to play properly. But yeah, I also had Ice Dragon's Prison. I can't believe I couldn't find my other prismatic one from the tin, but yeah, triple Ice Dragon's Prison, nothing needs to be said about that. The trap also that overperformed Evil Twin Present, just actually give my opponent a Evil Twin Link monster and then take one of their monsters is just fantastic. And then you can proc the other Evil Twin monster that you have on field to summon back from the graveyard, because you can't summon it if you control both, basically. So yeah. And then also we had Red Reboot and Signet Regression as a bit of spice. Now I pulled this card and I always thought, where am I going to use it? And it actually came up once. It does work with this deck pretty well, mainly because you can special summon your link monsters to your field on your opponent's turn, and then this makes this live, so you get, it's literally a double pop. So it's kind of like Dogmatic or Punishment in a sense, because you can pop a card, you pop a card with your blue, your link Evil Twin Kiss a Kill, and then you pop a card through Silent Regression, then it allows you to draw, so you can literally draw into hand traps. It is a bit gimmicky because you need to set up, but with this deck and the way that this deck plays, it's gonna be live, because you, like I said, you always end on the Evil Twin red link. So yeah, and that is it, ladies and gents. Again, I probably will make some more tweaks to this deck, and when Burst of Destiny comes out and we get the link for, you better believe I'm going to be taking this back to locals. But yeah, so we find ourselves at the end of another video. Were there any cards that you feel like I should have included in the profile, or anything that you think I shouldn't have included? If so, get at me in that comment section below. And as always, if you did like this video, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all that beautiful good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.